I should warn you before anything else. What chased us that night wasn't human, was an animal, and wasn't something the natural world could ever explain. Something ran across the highway, and then it followed our car for miles. Like it had chosen who marked us long before we even realized it. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, because stories like this, they stay with you long after the video ends. Now, let's go back to the beginning. It was close to midnight when Daniel and I started to drive home. We'd just left an old friend's house far out in the countryside, the kind of rural area where the road seems to stretch forever and the darkness looks thicker than usual, almost alive. There were no gas stations for miles, no streetlights, no passing cars. Just the hum of the engine and the steady flicker of white dashed lines slipping beneath us. Daniel was already asleep in the passenger seat. He had been talking non-stop earlier. But the moment we hit the highway, he leaned his head against the window and knocked out cold. The sky was oddly empty. Not a single star, not even a sliver of moonlight, just a heavy blackness, swallowing everything beyond the reach of our headlights. I remember thinking, how is it possible for a night to feel this dead? The radio signal faded in and out, twisting the music into distorted whispers. I turned it off. Silence washed over us thick, almost suffocating. Then it happened. A blur of movement cut across the road. Fast. Low. Too quick for me to understand what I saw. I slammed on the brakes. The tires screamed. The seatbelt dug into my chest. Daniel jerked awake, gasping. What the hell was that? Shouted. I don't know. Whatever crossed wasn't a deer. It wasn't a dog. It wasn't anything with a movement pattern I recognized. It didn't run, it glided, like its feet barely touched the ground. I wanted to believe it was just exhaustion playing tricks on me. I really did. We kept driving, and the night grew even darker. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Daniel stayed awake, rubbing his eyes, trying to understand what had scared me so badly that I nearly crashed the car. Maybe it was just a coyote, he said, though even he sounded unsure. Or a boar. No, I said quietly. It moved too. Wrong. He didn't argue. The atmosphere in the car shifted. The air felt heavier, colder. The feeling of being watched crept in slowly like invisible eyes. Were studying us from the tree line, moving wheat was. I kept checking the mirrors. At first for reassurance, then out of growing paranoia. And that's when I saw it. A shape, on the right side of the road, walking at the same speed as the car. I froze. Daniel saw my expression change and straightened himself. What is it? Look, I whispered. He turned his head toward the window. There it was, a tall, thin silhouette moving beside us, not running, not struggling, just gliding forward effortlessly, as if the darkness itself carried it along. Its limbs were too long, its torso too narrow, its movements too fluid and unnatural. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. What is that? He whispered. I don't know. We kept staring through the window, unable to look away. The figure didn't, Have, just a smooth surface where features should have been. And yet, I swear it was staring right at us. The car engine suddenly felt weaker, like something was draining its strength. Don't stop, Daniel whispered harshly. Whatever you do, don't stop the car. Trust me, stopping was the last thing on my mind. I pressed the gas pedal. The speedometer climbed. 80 kilómetros por hora a 90. But the figure didn't fall behind. It kept up. Perfectly. Effortlessly. That's when fear turned into panic. Daniel started shaking my arm. Go faster! Just go! I pushed the car even harder. The engine roared. But the creature, it didn't run. It didn't even look like it was trying. Its legs moved awkwardly, bending at unnatural angles. Yet somehow it kept pace like resistance didn't apply to Italiano. I glanced at the rearview mirror, and that's when it climbed. Not the road, not the guardrail. It climbed the air. Its limbs pressed against nothing, and yet it ascended, placing itself above us like a shadow gliding along the invisible surface of night. Daniel screamed, "Don't look at it!" But I couldn't help it. It was like my mind was glued to the sight. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. The road was empty again, but the silence that followed was worse than its presence. It was a silence you get before something terrible happens. I gripped the steering wheel harder, trying to control my breathing. "Is it gone?" Daniel whispered, "I don't know." That's when something banged hard on the roof of the car. The impact shook the entire vehicle. Daniel screamed and curled up, covering his head with his hands. I could hear scratching long, deliberate dragging noises moving across the roof. Something was crawling on top of us. I sped up again. 110 kilómetros por hora and 120 and 130. The creature's weight shifted, its limbs thudding against the metal roof, its claws scraping like nails on bone. Then a shadow appeared above through the tinted skylight. Not a full face. Just the outline, just the suggestion of something watching. The glass trembled as fingers long, thin, spider-like pressed against it. Tap. 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 Daniel shouted. "It's trying to get in." I didn't have to be told. The creature slammed one hand down. The glass cracked. With every slam, the cracks spread like frost across the window. It wasn't just trying to scare us, it was trying to break through. Daniel covered his face, shaking uncontrollably. "Drive. Just drive." I floored it. The engine screamed louder than we did. The creature reacted, pressing itself flatter, aligning with the wind sheer like a predator adjusting its stance before a final jump. The glass groaned. A thin fissure split through the center. Pieces rattled. A fragment fell into the car. It was about to break in. It was about to reach us. And then lights appeared ahead. White, bright, steady. A gas station. I swerved into the entrance violently. The tires screeched. The creature lost its grip, sliding off the roof with a horrible metallic scrape. The car skidded to a halt under the canopy. We were trembling, sweating, barely able to breathe. But we were alive. For the moment we stopped, I jumped out of the car. Daniel stumbled out behind me, gripping the door for balance. The gas station attendant rushed over. "Hey! You guys, okay?" Something was on our car. Daniel shouted, pointing at the roof. The man frowned. "What are you talking about?" Then he looked up. Long, deep claw marks covered the entire roof. Gouges of metal peeled back like skin. The skylight was shattered. His face went pale. What did this?" "We don't know," I said, my voice cracking. We moved under the bright lights of the convenience store entrance. I felt safer there. Somehow. Light had to mean safety, right? Daniel kept pacing. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. He kept repeating the same thing. It followed us. It chose us. Why us? Why us? Inside the convenience store, the clerk froze. When he saw us, "Jesus, you guys look like you saw a ghost." "It wasn't a ghost," Daniel whispered. "It was something worse." I tried to explain, tried to breathe, tried to calm myself. But then, the clerk's expression changed. His eyes widened. His face turned the color of paper. He pointed behind us. "Hey, there's something out there." We turned, and through the gas station glass walls, there it was, standing at the edge of the light. A tall, thin silhouette, perfectly still, perfectly silent. Just watching, waiting. Its body seemed to pulse with the darkness around it, like the night itself was alive inside that creature. We froze. The creature didn't move. Not an inch, but we could feel the pull, the weight of it stir even though it had no eyes. It was like its attention pierced through the glass, the walls, and right into the center of our chests. The clerk backed away slowly. Daniel whispered, "It's here." It followed us. The creature took one step forward. Just one. But that was enough. I grabbed Daniel. "Get back inside," the clerk shouted. We did. We pushed shelves against the door, turned off the lights. We crouched behind the counter, hiding from something that didn't need eyes to find us. The scratching began on the glass slow at first, then sharper, faster, hungrier. It circled the building, dragging those long fingers across every window. Daniel covered his ears, tears streaming down his face. Why won't it leave us alone? The truth was, I didn't know. But in my gut I felt it. The creature didn't want to kill us. It wanted to claim us, to mark us, to follow us for the rest of our lives. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The scratching, the circling, the breathing like calm outside. Gone. We waited hours before sunrise. Too afraid to move, too afraid to speak. When morning finally came, we stepped outside. The creature was gone. No tracks, no signs, nothing. But on the hood of the car, a single, fresh scratch. Deep, carved deliberately, like a signature. A reminder that it knew us. It remembered us, and someday it would come back. So if you're still listening, don't forget to subscribe, because this wasn't the last time something followed us. And the next time, we weren't the ones who got away.